Good afternoon, everyone. Steve Georgia here from Allendale's trading floor. It's March 15th. We had corn up a half, beans down 9.5, with wheat down just a penny and 3/4. Very light session here today, very quiet session. We tried to get a little bounce here in the grains early, but really couldn't hold it. A lot of the same that we've seen. It has been a very supportive week for corn. It's been supportive in the wheat. Beans have broke back. Beans mostly with the stories out of South America that they were looking for a port strike next week on the 19th. That was canceled. Also talks of China canceling some tenders this week. Had the beans on the defensive. So we did see a rally up near that $15 level, or we had gotten close enough that we finally had seen some profit taking as these stories developed this week. But down another 9.5. We did hold some support here today as well. We'll see what next week brings. We've got the acreage report that's coming up here on the end at the end of the month, and we released our survey results today. It's right here online. You can go right to our website here and check that out and see the official findings there as well. But looking at some of the markets and what to expect as we move forth, we had a good rally, as I mentioned, this week for wheat, a stronger close. You've got to go back to the week of January 14th, to see a stronger weekly close than what we had this week. So that's some positive news. The wheat market looks pretty good at this point. We still have some concerns out there, and we've got some ethanol plants still bidding for wheat at this time. We've seen some very good export sales this week. Export sales coming in just below 1.1 million metric tons. We still are making sales. There's still demand here at these levels. We may get a little bit more of a bounce here for wheat in the coming week. But watch for this. Things do look a little bit better here for corn and wheat. But for beans, we have to see if we can hold this support yet. Outside markets, not very helpful today. We did have the dollar down about 40 cents. Crude oil down up 50 cents today. As the dollar breaks, the energy markets find some support. Crude oil up 50 cents, 93.50. We've got some good resistance up around that $95 mark. We'll see if we can get through that next week. But pretty decent close for crude, and we'll see if that can continue. Now, the stock market, we've seen some big improvements over the last few weeks there. Stock market, though, down about 29 points at this time. S&P only down 3, so taking a minor break. But the livestock, pretty ugly day for livestock. Hogs down $1.25, continuing to press lower. 79.62 on those April contracts, seeing some sloppy trade there. We've seen the cash markets continuing to find some pressure. We did find a bounce here certain days, but overall still negative, and that's going to continue to weigh on hogs. But we've had a bigger story. It was the cattle today. Cattle down $2.35 in April, continuing to push lower. Contract lows at this time, as far as the April, sit at 125.12. We're currently 125.70, so we're approaching these contract lows. That's going to be an important number to watch here next week. Box beef coming in slightly lower today. Choice down 40, select down 93. But as I mentioned, the bigger story is out of cash cattle. Cash cattle trading at 127. It's about $1.50 lower than what we had traded last week. There were some expectations out there of possibly seeing a 130 trade. We didn't get that. So we had this emotional dump here on the market again, and really had pushed us down below some support levels again. So pretty negative chart patterns as far as cattle. We've got to see this cash market turn around before we get some emotion back on the long side of the cattle. So continue watching for that next week. Hopefully we can start to see this market to turn, but that's what you got to watch. The cash market will be the thing to watch next week for cattle. Give us a call or check out our webinar that we had put together on the acreage survey. You can check that out here. But give us a call with any questions that you have, 800-262-7538, or check us out on the web, allendale-inc.com. Hope you guys had a great day today. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.